Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hyung-gun Lee. I'm the professor at Gwangwon University in Korea. I'm so pleased to be a chair of the Session 5 in Smart TV Global Summit 2014. During this session, global issues of smart TV services and businesses and policies will be addressed with 3 presentations. The first one will be Connected TV, Problems and Opportunities for Broadcasters in Europe by Giacomo Mazzone from European Broadcasting Union. The second speech will be China Smart TV Industry Trend and iQIYI Comes OTT Strategy. Will be given by Duan Yu Chiao from iQIYI. And the last presentation will be Smart TV and Korea's Future Digital Development, given by Professor James Larson from SUNY Korea. Yeah, okay, I'm pleased to have a chance to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Giacomo Mazzone. He is the head of Institutional Relations and Members Relations South at European Broadcasting Union. He has a wide range of career as a journalist and media and high-tech analyst. The title of his talk is Connected TV, Problems and Opportunities for Broadcasters in Europe. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Giacomo Mazzone and give him big hands together.
Yes, thank you. They have to, it will, okay. Thank you. I'm very happy to be with you today. It's a very interesting opportunity, and I'm glad to share with you some thoughts and a different view, because it's the view coming from Europe, where we have a different environment from the rest of the world. I represent the European Broadcasting Union, that is one of the 8 broadcasting unions of the world. We represent the broadcasters of the European zone, plus North Africa and Middle East. And we are mainly public service broadcasters, so we have a scope that is not commercial. That's bring us to a different approach. My presentation, in fact, has as a title, Problems and Opportunities for Broadcasters in Europe, because the Smart TV or Connected TV, or as we prefer to call Hybrid TV, is an enormous opportunity, but also brings a certain number of problems for our specific ecosystem in Europe. So let's go through this presentation and see together how we will go. These are the main topics that I want to discuss with you. Europe, as I said, is different. We are in favor of what we call hybrid TV, more than what is called connected TV or smart TV. Why European broadcasters like hybrid TV, and I will explain the reasons. We will see this from a broadcaster and from a citizen point of view. There are some developments in this field that will come from Europe soon, and then the conclusion. First point is that connected TV or smart TV or whatever you call it is in reality the merging of 2 different worlds, the world of the broadcasting and the world of the internet. In the world of the broadcasting, you have the linear TV, what we call linear TV in Europe. You have a list of programs, you have broadcasting links, etc., etc. In the internet world, you have a totally different way of accessing the programs and the contents through portals, through TV application, on demand, and through broadband links. We use mainly in the world of broadcasting the remote control, while in the internet you use different, the mouse or whatever it is, and in the mobile internet even different things. These two worlds in Europe are separate, even by legislation. We have a very detailed legislation at the national level and the European Union level, regulating what can be done and what cannot be done in the broadcasting world, the radio and mainly the television. While on the internet world, we are in a global market and we are applying the global regulation or the non-existing global regulation. These worlds can be reached through the remote control using, in Europe, what we call the red button application. You can see highlighted in this slide. Through the pushing the red button, you enter into what we call the protected world, that is the hybrid TV. While if you push on the internet button, you can go on the internet that we call the connected TV. Why we are going in favor, we are supporting what is called HBB TV. That means hybrid broadcasting broadband television. Because the European broadcasters have a large share of their national market. Usually in Europe, 90% of the viewers or more in certain countries look at national broadcasting offer. Because we have seen that moving into the internet world and the online world still remain television and broadcasting offer a very attracting experience. The catch-up TV, for instance, in the UK is the largest single consumer of bandwidth within the internet for accessing contents from television. And because we want to add to this experience the web-based technologies using HBB TV, that is on the top of that. This main reason for us is because it's under the broadcasting control and not under the control of third-party users, including the TV set makers. This also has a technical reason, that is the reason of the market in Europe. As you can see, the market these are the 28 European countries of the European Union, and the green in the middle is the European average of all the countries for the fixed line broadband penetration. And you see that you have a large penetration of the broadband, but the broadband in Europe means very low bandwidth rate and guaranteed rate. Only few countries, only Belgium, as you can see, has a high penetration of 30 megabits bandwidth. So this brings to two main challenges for broadcasters. Why we have a cautious approach to the smart TV, to the connected TV? Because the first thing for us that our content must remain easily findable and accessible for viewers. While if you go through other gatekeepers, this is not the case all the time, because viewers need to have access to any application or portal provided by broadcasting while watching their channels, and this sometimes doesn't happen through the smart TV because you are blocked by the gatekeeper. That could be the TV devices, the cable operator, or the internet service provider. Because the intermediaries sometimes they put themselves between the channel and the viewer, because the providers of hybrid TV portals and other intermediaries must guarantee non-discriminatory access, and because there is a main problem of reference in the media search engines for the contents that we produce. The second challenge for broadcasters is the content integrity, and that this has also a legislation side that is very important, because the broadcaster is responsible for the signal and is responsible also towards the authorities. So it means that we are legally suitable if there is something that is going wrong on the signal that we deliver. And now that this delivery is not anymore controlled by us 100%, there is a lot of problems, a lot of noise that could be could be introduced in this relationship with the viewer. The integrity of broadcast content and the economic value of their service could be affected by parasitic behavior by third parties. There is an example, very classic, that I use when we discuss this topic in Brussels, in other arena, is the fact that, for instance, in Europe we have a tight regulation over advertising on tobacco and alcohol. Tobacco is banned all over EU. Alcohol is, in most of the countries in Europe, is limited or forbidden. While if you go on hybrid television situation in a connected TV, of course, you cannot anymore guarantee that this ban will be respected, because the part of this TV set that is under the national regulation will have to respect the national rules, while the other part that is under the internet regulation doesn't understand what tobacco prohibition of advertising is, because in other countries in the world doesn't exist. So we have a problem over there. The second is that the display of the visual content is essential part of the user viewing experience. The third is that the television picture should occur only through an active decision of the viewer and not by a third party. For instance, as I mentioned before, introducing advertising that was not in the original content. And while the viewers may wish to aggregate content from different sources, there is always an obligation in Europe to have a clear identification of the content of the source. So these are two main areas of challenges. So after that, on the base of that, we have produced a certain number of principles on hybrid and connected TV. What is acceptable for us in Europe to be hybrid and connected TV? So this has to be something that provides safeguards against potential risk, like, for instance, recognition of the public interest, the treatment of big data, the privacy that link that is behind that, the protection of child, etc., etc. We do this through discussion with TV manufacturers, trying to arrive to consensus. We discuss with the regulators. In Europe, we have 28 regulators plus the European regulator itself. And we try to discuss with all the parties, because we believe that through consensus we can arrive to the best solution for the interest of everybody. Until this will not be reached, you will have different models competing, and this will slow the process of penetration of the smart TV in Europe. We have created, with other partners, a consortium that is called HBB TV. These are only a fraction of the members of this consortium. The consortium has been has been conceived in order to embrace technical industries, telecom operators, broadcasters, TV manufacturers, etc., in order to standardize a certain number of principles and make the application as smooth as possible. The HBB TV has been launched in the most important European countries, the biggest market. We have in France, we have in Spain, we have in Germany, we have in Italy, we have in Poland, etc., etc. And this is based on different kind of interactive softwares, because historically in each country we have seen different models and different kind of application that has been used when there was the launch of the digital terrestrial television 10 years ago in some countries, 6 years ago in others, etc., etc. This is the map of the hybrid TV, where the HBB TV is adopted and is in exercise. You can see that it's still mostly focused in Europe, Arab countries and Australia, and there are experiences in other countries of the world also available. What the HBB TV offer is mainly catch-up TV, so you can access to linear services in a non-linear way, news, weather, forecasts, etc., etc. There is a digital rights management platform behind that ensure the respect of the copyright and the localization of the rights. we have problems with some form of platforms. For instance, it works very well on terrestrial and satellite in Europe, but in some cables, because of the bandwidth used for the application, some operators refuse to carry the interactive signal. So this is a problem that we need to sort it out. As I said to you before, some countries are already well advanced. This is the case of Germany, that is the biggest single European market. Most of the TV sets are already HBB TV prepared. There are already 10 million or 12 million HBB TV sets in the market at the end of last year. These were data of the sales last year. This is the signal, how it looks like. You see the traditional TV signal on the top, but you can see on the bottom the HBB TV signal, in which simultaneously you can decide which kind of enhanced service you want to access through the remote control, the red button, as I told you before. So you can have the news, but you can also see different moments of the same news bulletin before or after. You can go to the previous edition, you can have in-depth news, you can go to the teletext, etc., etc. In France, there are already 11 channels that have enhanced this possibility of HBB TV. And also in the HD forum France, this has been included in the characteristic of the future offer in HD. The situation in France, as you can see, the TV reception is very mixed. You have 4 different ways to access to TV signal nowadays, because you have the digital terrestrial, that is still the most used way, but also you have broadband access that is going faster, and you have a cable and satellite penetration. So you have 4 different ways to access to the TV contents. This is the signal, how it looks in France, and one of the most important application was for the Roland Garros, where you can have access to all the different fields where the matches are going on. You can see the profile of the different players. You can access to database about historical results, etc., etc. In Italy, there is a different standard, because we are starting from MHP-based system, because this was the interactive standard that was selected at the moment of the launch of the digital terrestrial. But nevertheless, the same facilities and the same services are offered also on this platform through the HBB TV. This is how it looks, the signal in Italy, through RAI, but also through Mediaset and others, the main Italian players. The same in Spain, where it has been launched 2 years ago, based mainly on the French characteristics. The services are the same in the rest of Europe: catch-up TV, electronic program guides, news and weather forecast. This is how it looks in Spain. So you see each broadcaster adapt to his own country, to the habits of the viewers, etc., etc., but the services are always the same. It has been launched in 2012 also in Poland. That is the 5th biggest single market in Europe. And this is how it looks in Poland. You see still a different way of offering the programs. In the UK, I mentioned separately because they have another standard of interactive software, that is MHEG 5, that has been adopted in this country, but nevertheless the HBB TV works also with the standards, because we have to go through different standards in different countries, because Europe is very wide and very different. We are all, at the moment, the application we are seeing is based on HBB TV 1.5, but in 2015 will be launched the version 2.0. What will be different from the existing version is that it will be based on HTML5, that there will be the offer to synchronize the second and the third and the fourth screen so that you can live the same experience through all the different devices that you are using. And there are other improved functionalities. Another point very important that will be contained in the next version of HBB TV will be the cross-platform authentication, so that once that you have authenticated yourself on one device, this automatically will go through all the various devices. This, of course, brings to another problem for us that is very important in Europe, very crucial, that is the data retention and data protection, because you know that in Europe we have a very restrictive, protective for the consumers and for the citizen legislation. So we are working currently as broadcasters to a charter of the rights of the broadcasters towards the citizen, the obligation of the broadcasters toward the citizen, and a charter of the rights of the citizen, in which we inform the citizen, we have a contract with the citizen about the kind of use that we will do of the big data that we will collect about them, because this is one of the crucial issues. The first case is in France. I'm proud to announce that France Television launched this at the beginning of this year, and now we are working on a common charter all over Europe. Conclusion. What we call hybrid TV is now a mainstream offer. Of course, the connectivity of the TV set to the internet could provide an enhanced experience. We are, for the first time, in a truly converged service at the intersection between broadband and broadcast. There are a lot of associated challenges that I mentioned before. Broadcasters and all the other operators on the value chain need to work together in order to ensure a better interoperability. And also, we have to launch the next generation. Thank you very much. I hope that I've been clear, because the situation probably is complex, but I hope that you've been able to follow. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, during this session, we're going to have, we're going to accept the questions and comments on the presentation. Any comments on questions about that? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for interesting talk. I just have two simple questions. One is, you mentioned overlay services on the TV pictures. I would like to know how you overlay it. There are many different ways of overlaying on the picture. And could you tell me what is the reaction of the viewers after they see the overlay information? Another one is the 6-channel. You mentioned the 6-channel already have the context-based services. What do you mean by that? Is it personalized context awareness, or could you comment on that? That's two questions.
Yeah, sorry, probably I was not clear on these 2 points. When I talk about 6 channels was in France, I mean that the 6 channel in France could be seen on a normal version without any interactive application, without HBB TV, but also can be seen if you access through the broadband or through the connection that is a channel of return. You can access the version, the enhanced version of the channel. Okay, this in France, and I mentioned France because I have the recent number about France, but there are many other channels doing this, offering the same thing in other parts of Europe. Concerning the overlay, there are 2 different aspects of the problem: the overlay of what we offer as broadcasters, and the third-party overlays. To be precise, the third-party overlays in the HBB world are not allowed. Until you are in the HBB TV world, the signal remains the one that you see on TV, and only the viewer could decide what to add to the basic signal. Okay? This is the contract between us and the viewer. That has been always like this. The viewers view what we guarantee as a signal that is conform to the rules of the regulation. Then the viewer can, through the HBB application, overlay with what he wants. For instance, I don't know if you remember the screen about the Roland Garros in France, the tennis play. You can add there is this bottom line where there are possible application, and then if you click on this application, you can access to a window in which you have complementary information that usually is the second field or database about the player, the results of the previous matches between the two players, etc., etc. But this is always a decision of the viewer and not a decision of the broadcaster or of a third party. Could be text, could be data, could be other live picture, whatever. For instance, was mentioned before by the colleague of Microsoft during the Olympics. BBC in London offered through a same screen you can access in reality to 14 different screens behind that you can decide if they they coexist in the same screen, if you want to put one on the top and the other just as a frame on the bottom. If you want to have all the 14, if your TV set allowed, you can have all of them as stamps on the screen. It's always a consumer and the viewer experience.
Thank you.
Hi, I had a follow-up question actually on the overlays. So I'm interested from a smart TV perspective if you're offering other kind of interactive features which may be interrupt driven. For example, let's say my smart TV has something like Skype and I'm actually watching TV and I start to get a Skype call from a relative. Would I not be allowed to put an overlay to notify the user that my father is calling me if I'm watching an HBB TV program? And I can imagine other similar things like that. If the doorbell rings and I want to actually show video, kind of like a video camera of who's at my door, something like that. I'm curious how that will be allowed or not allowed, or how you think about that kind of interaction.
Yes. Internet of Things is not yet integrated into the current version of HBB TV. They are working, I don't know if it will be already in 2.0 or if it will be for a next release. Because we go through standardization process. So it means that, for instance, there is a certain delay in version 2.0 because this is going through ITU, ETSI, etc., because we go only when this is accepted as a standard, in order to be sure that everybody will be on the same wavelength when we launch a new service. So IoT for the moment is not there. Concerning internet services like Skype, etc., yes, you can allow a certain number of things to interfere with the signal. But this is, again, a decision of the viewer. It's not of the manufacturer or of the third party. This is the principle that we want to keep a bilateral preferential relation.
Okay, done? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Please give him a big hand.